It is one of the most frustratingly designed passing offenses in the entire NFL. It's been a good run, but it's probably like the end of the road here for them.
What is the deal with Baltimore? Their passing game looks absolutely atrocious.
Look at the release.
There's your separation.
Great route.
Stutter and go. Gets by clean.
That is unbelievable.
Maybe the greatest catch I've ever seen.
Can we talk about Baltimore? I'm a little
Nothing
bit
I've ever cared
concerned.
less about than a rundown, buddy.
No, I know, pal. I'm a little concerned about Baltimore, man. Like, what is the deal with Baltimore? Their passing game looks absolutely atrocious.
I know. Really rough last 2 weeks. I think this could kind of be like the beginning of the end for the Ravens. You know, they're 8-4, but I don't look at them and think like that's an 8-4 team. They are very injured, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Now they add Marlon Humphrey to the an absurd injured reserve list for the Baltimore Ravens. And yeah, they're not really executing on the offensive side of the football, like all injuries aside. And we're going to talk about Rashod Bateman later, so we could save that for the end of the show. But just from like my problem with the Ravens offense is like, they just basically ask Lamar to do so much. They don't have a lot of layups. If you watch film on the Ravens, there's no team that has two guys running in the same area, running this routes in the same spot more than the goddamn Baltimore Ravens. I mean, it is one of the most frustratingly designed passing offenses in the entire NFL. It's just, it's unbelievable. Like if you want to really hate yourself, fire up Game Pass, watch film on the Ravens, and I'm telling you, you will see two guys running routes in the same area of the field all the time. They do not take advantage of the full field. Lamar has obviously not played well the last two games either, but it's just, I do think there's a lot on the guy. You know, they can't really run the ball effectively. They've kind of settled on Devonta Freeman as the top guy. And you know, from a receiving talent perspective, it's Marquise Brown, who I like Marquise Brown, but you know, he's not a one. Mark Andrews has had some up and down moments throughout the course of his career, more good than bad. And the offensive line is extremely banged up and not the unit that we thought coming into the year. The Ravens just feel like a team to me that's like, it's been a good run. But it's probably like the end of the road here for them in terms of being like a Super Bowl contender. They'll still go to the playoffs most likely. And this could just be a 2-game blip against division rivals. And like, for an offense that's so predictable like Baltimore, like I'm saying, I know how their passing game is designed, and I'm goofball in his home office. I'm sure, you know, the Cleveland Browns who prepare for them for twice a year, the Pittsburgh Steelers prepare for them twice a year. Like they know what they're doing here in terms of defending this offense.
Okay, now here's the problem though, man. It's not a 2-game blip. It's actually, if you go back over their last 6 games, over their last 6 games, they have failed to top 20 points in 5 of them. So in 5 of their last 6 games, they have failed to score 20 points. The only time they've topped 20 points was against the Minnesota Vikings, and it took a furious rally in an overtime win to get to 34. It's been an ongoing issue. They scored 17 points against the Bengals in that just absolute rout. They scored 10 against Miami. They scored 16 against Chicago. You could kind of forgive them for that. I think that was the Tyler Huntley game, if I'm not mistaken. And then the Browns, game. The Bears game. And then the Browns, they scored 16 in just what was, oh God, my eyes were bleeding watching that game. And then the Steelers game too. It was gross. I mean, let's be real. It was an absolutely disgusting game. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to think about Lamar. I don't know what to think about Marquise Brown, who had been so good all year long. And then Rashod Bateman, it's like I want to believe in him, but I don't know how many more weeks we can. Well, we don't have that many more weeks left, but
how
many more weeks are we gonna be like, okay, Rashod Bateman, this is a good matchup. Let's play him. And he doesn't deliver.
The problem too with Baltimore, and this is something, again, if you watch them a ton throughout the course of the Greg Roman era, this is a constant problem for them, is that they do not know how to beat the blitz. They do not know how to beat the blitz. They don't really know how to take advantage of man coverage. I'm just filtering right now against cover 0 and cover 1 defenses. Lamar Jackson, in terms of EPA per play, he ranks outside the top 40 quarterbacks this year. He ranks in terms of the neighborhood of guys like, I mean, we're talking about, Zach Wilson. We're talking about Trevor Lawrence. We're talking about Justin Fields, rookies.
Right.
We're talking about in the Sam Darnold territory, guys. Like, what are we doing here? So I think this is the biggest problem. Like I said, this is not a well-designed offense. Positive play percentage in terms of quarterbacks this year. Justin Fields against cover 0 and cover 1 defenses, 36%. Lamar Jackson, 36%. Trevor Lawrence, 32%. Zach Wilson, 30%. Like these among starting quarterbacks, that's where he ranks. There are some guys that are ranked lower, like Cam Newton, who has barely started this year. And he got blitzed to F all over the place against the Miami Dolphins. It's just teams know how to beat this offense, man. And like when Lamar is not on his best game, this is what happens. So I do agree. I think, Marquise Brown's a guy that I think you got to kind of move down in terms of expectations. You're probably still starting Lamar. Like I know Josh put in it hurts to ask, but should I pick up and consider Taysom over Lamar? No. I mean, no, don't do that. But I don't think you got better options than Lamar in terms of quarterbacks, but just because the rushing floor is still there, man. And, but yeah, I do think the expectations for this offense until they show us that they can punch left-handed have to come down.
Yeah. Marquise Brown too. Again, it was, had a lot of splash games early on. We talked about the overall scoring for the Baltimore Ravens. And again, when you're talking about fantasy points, of course, a lot of that is tied into the overall health of the offense. In the last 6 games, the health of the offense just has not been great. Marquise Brown has kind of sort of overcome that a little bit through volume because he's just seen so many targets.
So much targets, yeah.
14 against, this is going back through their week 7 game against Cincinnati, but 14, 12, 13, 10, and 7 against Pittsburgh. So he's gotten by on volume, but boy, it has been pretty ugly, honestly, for this entire Baltimore Ravens offense. And I'll just go back to Rashod Bateman, man. It's like, I every single week I'm like, he's a good sleeper.
Yeah, well, the problem is
every single week he's just not there.
In the Ask RP section, I know Bat Lab asked us, like, what's the deal with Bateman? I know we got a decent bit of questions. Josh just asked us with Rashod Bateman's success rate, why is he running 4th behind Devin Duvernay? Yeah, he is running like 4th in terms of routes on the team. Like, that's how far down we've gotten here with Rashod Bateman. And I don't understand it. I know he's been he was on the injury report the same week that like Lamar was on the injury report and everything like that. But it's like, as soon as Lamar came back, it's like they just stopped playing this guy. And I don't really understand. Yeah. When you look at routes run over the last 2 weeks, Marquise Brown, 75, Devin Duvernay, 45, Sammy Watkins, 44, Rashod Bateman, 40. Why? I don't understand, especially because they immediately took him off IR and he started playing and was playing well, like consistently getting first downs. And what do we talk about with this offense? Like, they don't sustain drives. They don't move the ball. Who is sustaining drives for them? It was Rashod Bateman. So, I mean, I don't understand what's going on here, but it's pretty bad.